If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, then I'm probably starting to sound like Al Bundy talking about his Polk High School football days. The way I talk about how I've done 45 half marathons and a dopey challenge. I tell this because it lets people know what my experience is with running, but it also shows a different side of me. It shows a dedication that not everybody has in them, but I know that you do. So I want to share my journey to my first year of doing 10 or more half marathons, because that is how I got up to 45. I do 10 or more half marathons a year. And you don't have to do that. Your journey may be 2 half marathons a year, or 20 half marathons a year, or 10 full marathons a year. But I just want to share my journey with you, and maybe it will encourage you or inspire you or motivate you to want to start a journey of your own. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. Hi, and welcome to Temple Running with MJ Smith. I am MJ Smith, and thank you so much for tuning in today. If this is your first time with us, welcome. And if you are returning, hey, good to see you. And hopefully, if this is your first time, I'll be seeing you again. So as I said in the intro, today is a little different. I'm not sharing tips or advice. Well, I am sharing tips and advice in a way, because I am going to talk to you about my journey to my first year of doing 10 or more half marathons. And the crazy part is I've been running for 8 years. So you're like, okay, 8 years, 45 half marathons. That's not that bad. But the thing is that I only had 4 half marathons under my belt up until 2015. So between 2016 and 2019, I got up to 45 half marathons from that point. So that's why I want to share my journey with you. I made a goal for myself on my first year, and that's the year that I'm going to go through, tell you about my races and how I did it, how I planned it out, and just kind of sharing with you how fun it was and why I continue to do it year after year after year after that. So now on to 2016, I have decided that I want to do 10 half marathons to get myself back to the shape that I was in before I had my son. And so this was the challenge that I thought would get me back in the game. And it certainly did that. So I started the year off in February, going back up to Birmingham to do the Mercedes-Benz. And the reason why I wanted to do this, because everybody talked about how cool the medal was. And I told y'all, I'm a lot about the bling. It's not all about the bling, but I'm a lot about the bling. So, so this was the medal that came with that race. I might got a little too close to the camera. It's awesome. Okay. Mercedes-Benz symbol. And so this was February 14th. So it was actually Valentine's Day. I really did this one pretty much by myself. It was very cold. I remember us all huddling inside this arena until the race started. But once I got going, I was fine, y'all. I bundled up. I put those gloves on, put that headband on. But this one was a cool medal, and I really enjoyed this race. The Mercedes-Benz Half Marathon. They have it every year in Birmingham around February timeframe. February 28th, I did the New Orleans, got to get those beads out, y'all, the New Orleans Rock and Roll. And this was the medal. And I did the New Orleans Rock and Roll with some friends. This was 2 weeks after the Mercedes-Benz. And so this course was so flat, y'all. Like, it was my dream. So at the beginning, I told you I was running with friends. And so finally, me and one of the other young ladies, we were like, okay, we'll see you guys at the finish line. And she and I just took off, and we like went almost full sprint all the way to the finish line. It was so incredible. I had never done anything like that before. I told you guys I'm a steady runner, so it's like same pace the whole time. But she and I just got this energy out of nowhere, and she was already a fast runner. And for some reason, I wanted to run with her. And I mean, it was amazing. We ended up making up so much time. I finished that race in 2 hours and 15 seconds. Look how much time I knocked off of there. And I didn't say it, but I ran the Mercedes-Benz in 2 hours, 1 minute, 22 seconds. So I'm around a 2-hour girl all the time. I'm usually around a little under or a little over 2 hours. So I ended up making up that time, was right in my realm. I wouldn't recommend doing that because I easily could have ran out of gas, but I had enough in me and enough trained in me to make it to the end. So New Orleans was amazing. After I did New Orleans, the next one I did, I told you I was living in Montgomery, Alabama at the time. So I did the Montgomery Marathon, y'all. And when I tell you, this was the worst. Okay, so first I woke up that morning and I felt horrible. And I was just like, oh, it's going to be one of those days. And this race took place, like 3 weeks after the New Orleans Rock and Roll. This was March 12th. So 2 weeks after the New Orleans Rock and Roll, this happened. And I was just like, I am not feeling it. I woke up, I went out there, I did the race. It wasn't easy. I didn't get out there and get that second jolt of energy. No. And y'all, after I ran that rough race, because it was hilly and Montgomery was just not nice to me. And I think it might have even been raining that day. This is the medal they gave us, y'all. Look how small that medal is. I was like, are y'all kidding me? I'm not even gonna put this around my neck now. The ribbon weighs more than this little medal, okay? Yeah, I was really disappointed. So that one was at the house. Luckily, I didn't travel for this one. And that was another one under the belt. And then I went to Atlanta area, to Georgia, and I did the Publix, Georgia half marathon. And now they made up for that little wimpy Montgomery medal, because this is a nice medal, y'all. Look at this one. Wow. Like it was, and so I had done the hot chocolate in Atlanta the year before, and the hot chocolate kicked my butt. I wasn't prepared. My son's birthday party was the day before. I ate cake and ice cream. It was bad, right? I got out there and Atlanta kicked my butt. I finished it, but it was rough. So when I got out there for this one, I was like, I'm going to be ready. And I was. And I had such a good time during this race. It was really good. I already knew to expect all those hills, y'all. If y'all run any races in downtown Atlanta, and you guys who have know what I'm talking about. If you run any races in downtown Atlanta, it is very hilly. So just prepare yourself for that mentally. Great race. If you ever get a chance to do it, definitely do it. And the bling is nice. At least it was. And I did this one in 2 hours and 22 seconds. So I told you guys, I'm right there around that 2 hours most of the time. You will see the theme through this. I am a fan of rock and roll. So my next one was another rock and roll, and it was the Rock and Roll Nashville. So this is the Rock and Roll Nashville medal. It spins. That's pretty cool, right? Rock and roll always has pretty good medals. They're not super big, but they're always very personal to the city. And but this was back in 2016. The series has changed a bit since, but for the most part, it has been pretty consistent. So Rock and Roll Nashville, I ran with friends. Nashville has some hills too. And that morning, the thing about Nashville in April, because this one was in April. Yes, April 30th. So a month after the last one I did, or a month and a half after the last one I did. So the thing about Nashville is that it is very hot or it can be very rainy in April. So we got both that day. It was kind of warm, but then it was thunderstorming that morning. So they delayed the race for a few hours. So we were kind of just sitting around waiting on the lightning to pass so it was safe for us to go run. And then we started running and it was raining. And then by the time we got into the run, the rain had kind of dissipated and it wasn't raining as bad anymore. So it ended up being a fantastic race. So Nashville was next. Nashville was great. I would do it again. So just watch out for that weather. And then with rock and roll, if you do multiple races, you can sign up for their heavy metals program, and then they send you a bonus medal for everyone. So this was the double beat that year. So that was pretty cool for doing 2 rock and roll marathon halves, because I had done the New Orleans and the Nashville by this point. And so my next one was also a rock and roll. And I went home to my mama's house. I'm from Wisconsin, but my mom, she lives in Chicago now. So I went home to mom's and I did the Rock and Roll Chicago. One of my favorite half marathons. I've done this one 3 times. I've really signed up for it 4, but the first year I signed up for it was the year that I got pregnant. But anywho, I ran this in July. So this is a July race. You don't really get many summer races. This race is always in July. And I have never been super duper hot. So at 7 in the morning in Chicago, you usually got a good chance of the weather not burning you up in July. So I love this race. You guys will hear me talk about it a lot on this channel because it is one of my favorite ones to do. I recommend this race to you. The medals are always pretty cool, but it's just the race, like running through downtown Chicago, running the Magnificent Mile, running the Lakeshore Drive. Like, it is just all just very magical to me. So I love it. So if you ever get to try that one, do it. And then, of course, since it was my 3rd rock and roll, I got my rock trio that I got to get for that, for my 3rd rock and roll. And then I went back on down to Georgia, y'all. And I did the Divas Half Marathon. And when I tell you guys, the Divas Half Marathon was so fun. Now, men, you know, it is really girly. So you all are not the target audience, obviously, but there were some men who ran out there. But at the end, so you get a tutu and a boa and like some really cute, like little swag. You get a tiara, and lots of people ran in that, especially if they were running a 5K. I was running a half. I don't think I didn't wear the tiara or the boa, but I did wear my tutu. And I'm sure I'll show a picture of me during that race. But this was in September of 2016. So it was the beginning of the fall running season, and this was so fun. It was in Peachtree City, Georgia. I have family that lives very close to there, so it was like the perfect race, and I really enjoyed the course. It ran through this city where basically they travel around on golf carts because everything is so close, and they have all these golf cart paths, and we basically got to run on them, and it connects the whole city. It was really, really cool. So if you're ever down in Georgia or in that area and you're in September, I think this has been there for so many years. See if you can check out this Diva Half Marathon. It was really fun. Oh, and there were shirtless guys with champagne at the finish line. Bonus. So my next half marathon was St. Louis, y'all. And it's so funny because I ended up living in St. Louis like a couple years later, but I went there for the race. And this race was so fun. It goes through downtown St. Louis, and then it takes you through some rougher parts of St. Louis. But it also takes you through some really beautiful neighborhoods in St. Louis as well. It's such a mixed city, really. This course really showed the whole city. You got to see the fabulous things like Cardinal Stadium and, you know, the Arch and all these beautiful landmarks. This city was just really beautiful. I would recommend this race if they're still doing St. Louis. If rock and roll is still going through St. Louis, I recommend it. Plus, this medal was cool. Like, you gotta love it. Okay, and like I said, since rock and roll is so awesome. Oh, first I have to show you. For doing 4, the medals just get better and better the more you do. You get the groupie medal, which is super awesome. And then, like I said, because rock and roll knows we love the bling, I also ended up earning this challenge, which was the Midwest Challenge. And it was if you did Chicago and St. Louis. So, I can't do this. Pretty cool, right? Right. I love it. So the next one I went back to Savannah and did the Rock and Roll Savannah again. And I did it again in honor of my family member that had passed away, because that's the city where she was from. And out there, I ended up doing the half, and the medal wasn't all that great for this one, actually. Rock and roll probably could have done a little better. This is the bridge that is out there in Savannah, and it's cool, but yeah, they could have done a little better. Then I also got the roadie. I told you guys, they just get better. I got the roadie for doing 5 rock and rolls that at that time. And then I also got the Southern Charm medal for doing 2 out of the 3. You had to do Raleigh, Nashville, or Savannah, and you had to do 2 out of the 3. So this is for me doing Nashville and Savannah. If you have never done the Rock and Roll Las Vegas, you must do this race, y'all. Okay? It is, here's the medal that I got that year. So Rock and Roll always does like a concert at the end of the race, like the post-race party, right? And usually it's some headliner, and they've had some pretty good people, but this one for Las Vegas, they had Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg was the headliner. And since this was racing the strip at night, did I mention you run the Las Vegas Strip at night? They shut it down so we can run the strip. Have you ever seen the Las Vegas Strip without cars? It is crazy, okay? And we got to run it with all the lights, all the fantastic scenery and everything you get in Vegas, but we didn't have to look at our car window. We got to run down the strip. And almost the whole race was the strip. I mean, I think we did a couple miles off the path, and then we did some kind of turn, and we ended up back on the strip. So it was a wonderful race. But since it was at night, the post-race party was a pre-race party. So you got to party with Snoop and then go to your start line and run the Las Vegas Strip as the sun was setting, and then continue it at night. It was really awesome. And then because Rock and Roll was my 6th Rock and Roll that year, I got this really cool heavy guitar for my 6th string. It's the 6th string medal. So I got those 2 in Vegas. And last, so that was my 10. I was done, you guys. So I did 6 rock and rolls. Then I did Mercedes-Benz, Publix, Divas, and Montgomery half marathons. So I did 10. I was like, whoo, I'm done. I finished this journey. That was amazing. I really loved it. Now what? And then I had a friend call me and say, hey, I have to work down at the St. Jude's half marathon. You want to come down and maybe run that and hang out? Goodness, how can I pass down running for St. Jude? St. Jude is just my #1 charity. I love St. Jude. Who cannot want to contribute to try to help sick children? It's just a no-brainer. So I said, of course I want to come down and run St. Jude. This was my 11th, and very nice medal. And it spins as well. Okay, there we go. The back spins, and you guys, so let me tell you what happened. I did my carb load the night before, but we ended up ordering pasta, and the pasta made me sick. So I woke up the next morning, I'm tired because I haven't slept, and I still don't feel 100% well in my guts. So, so I said, but I'm going out here and I'm going to do it. And so I got up, I went out there, and I started running, and I'm still not feeling great. And all of a sudden, I just, I'm seeing pictures of children from the hospital. They had Wear Blue out there with the fallen soldiers. They had so much inspiration. And the crowd itself, the crowd seemed like it was literally around the whole 13.1 miles. And just to see the hospital, the actual hospital in Memphis, and I mean, just everything, it perked me up. And I had the most amazing race. And I said, I can only imagine what this race would feel like if I was actually not, actually feeling 100%, because it feels amazing and I'm not feeling great. This race was in December, so it was kind of cold, but I bundled up. I got out there. Once I got out there, everything was great. This is a wonderful cause to run for. They do fundraisers. I learned about it really late, so I didn't get to fundraise for it. Bonus race number 11 for 2016. And that's how I got through my first year. So I know it's time to wrap this up, but the biggest thing that I want to leave with you is that some of these races were good, some of these races were bad. But when you make a goal and you stick with it, you make a cause behind it more than just you want to do it and put the notch on your belt. I really put a lot of thought and heart behind how I planned my races. Almost every race, I had friend or family that I got to visit, and that was part of my motivation to go out there. And then some of them, those friends and family, came out and cheered me on or saw me at the finish line. You need those kind of outside things. So me running these races, especially when I run most of them by myself, is not the thing that keeps me going. It's those people that I go visit. It's the experience of the city. It's the cause of the race. It's what in my heart I'm doing it for. That is why I go. And so if you don't have any of that, if you just want to do it so you can brag and say you did 45 or 50 or 100 half marathons or full marathons, just know that will never be the satisfaction that you need, because guess what? There's always somebody who did more than you. I met a guy who was on his 100th full marathon when I was in Vegas. So my little record was a little drop in the bucket to him. So just go out there and do it for you. Don't do it for bragging rights. Don't do it because you think that it's going to make you seem like the world's most incredible runner. I am definitely not the world's most incredible runner, and I do plan to continue my 10 half marathons a year journey. I did it that was 2016, my first year. I did it again in 2017, in 2018, and 2019, and I had a schedule for 2020. And as we all know how that turned out. I just wanted to share this part of me because I know it's something that new runners or even some experienced runners who are thinking about doing more races and upping their tempo races may want to see how others do it. So that's all I have for you today. If you have not already, please hit that subscribe button. I have plenty of tips and experience and things on my run journey that I want to share with you. So please subscribe so you can catch more videos like this. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below and let me know about your run experiences. How many races have you done? And if you made it this far in the video, put bling bling in the comments so I know that you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every moment that you spend watching this video. I appreciate every subscriber. I appreciate every like and every comment. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, are you in?